It's October. How is it already October already? But that means it's time for a new Seint eyeshadow of the month, and this one is both appropriate in tone and name. This month's eyeshadow is Spell, and today we're gonna create kind of a sultry eye look that will be beautiful all fall long, maybe something you wanna consider for the upcoming holiday, and of course we will focus on how to do this for a hooded eye. For all of my hooded eye ladies, this video is for you. If you would like to see more about the eyeshadow of the month and how you compare it perfectly for the fall, as well as some comparison swatches to some of the tones we already have in our collection, be sure to hang out for today's video. As always, I would love for you to like and subscribe, and thanks for being here. This is a little sneak peek of both the color, Spell, and the eyeshadow look that we're gonna be creating. So let's jump right in and let's start with some comparison swatches. We're starting with Spell. It's a beautiful brown toned matte shade, and it has what I would consider maybe a little bit of a purple base to it, but it is different than the other eyeshadows that we have. So let's check it out. When I was digging through my collection, the one that I thought it might be most closely similar to is Philly. But as I'm swatching it now, I see that Philly is a little bit darker and a little bit more brown. So you definitely have a little bit more of that purple base when it comes to Spell. So what I'm thinking might be a good comparison is my Ride or Die Revival. So I have been using Seint Eyeshadows for probably close to 4 years now. And yep, Revival was one of the first ones that I got, and it is definitely the closest that I can think of from our collection. I did pull some other ones. The next one being Cocoa. Cocoa is like a signature brown that you're gonna love in your collection. Okay, when you look at it, it looks like it's gonna have more of that purple, but it really is even a little bit deeper than Philly, but probably more purple than Philly is. There are a couple of other ones that I pulled, but now I'm thinking those definitely have more red, but let's check them out anyways. The first that came to mind, only because it's that deep dark shade, is Pomegranate, but you're gonna see that, well, Pomegranate is a beautiful fall shade. I definitely am pulling for Pomegranate in the fall, but it definitely has more of that red undertone, kind of that wine, like maybe a mulberry sort of color. So definitely different, more purple here, more red here. But when it comes to these deep dark mattes, I would say when you're going to create an eye look, when it comes to a hooded eye, I typically leave my deepest and darkest shade for that outer corner to really increase kind of that almond shape and add depth. So any of these would be beautiful fall shades for sure, including Pomegranate. But I did pull two more, and as I'm looking, they're definitely both more in that red family. So this is Holly, and Holly is in that red, maybe a little bit of that orange. And then we have Zion. And this is actually my second Zion. Zion was an original love of mine as well, before we had nearly as many shades as we have now. So Zion and Holly are gonna be similar as well, but you'll see that Holly is a little bit deeper and Zion is gonna have a little bit less depth to it. But these are all gonna be great outer corner colors when you're trying to create kind of a fall, warm toned eye look. I would say right here, which guy is that? Let's see, I think that was Cocoa. So we had, nope, that's not Cocoa. That was Cocoa. Okay, I just went and pulled it again. So Cocoa actually has kind of the most gray base of them all. Obviously still brown, but leans a little bit cooler, while the rest of these are still pretty warm. But anyway, any of these would make a beautiful fall eye look, and they still have a significant amount of warmth to them. So if you lean towards the warmer shades in the fall, which I do, thinking like the leaves changing and all of that, any of these would be beautiful. But for today's eye look, we're gonna use Spell, Foxy, Chai, and Rome. And Chai, which is gonna be our mid-tone matte, which is the first shade that we start to use to carve out the eye when you have a hooded eye. I always start with a medium toned matte shade to create some dimension without emphasizing texture. That's why I always lean towards a matte, and I'll show you that here in a second. But it also has a little bit of a cool base to it. I find that when I'm creating an eye look with multiple shades, I like to create some balance with either mostly warms and a cool shade, or mostly cool tones with a little bit of a warm shade. If you only use one brush to do your eye, Seint's eyeshadow brush is amazing. All our brushes are dual-ended, but you'll see this one has the larger fluffy side, which is really great for blending, but also with the depth of it, it allows you to hold it on that angle and get up into that area above the crease, which is the first key to a hooded eye look. So let's get some on the top of the bristles. I always tap off the excess so that I don't have a mess on my face, which I already did today. I've already done my makeup for today. I went with a very light and natural look. I did use Fig, which has been like my go-to as the seasons are changing, but I feel like this is going to look really nice for somewhat of a monochromatic look with Spell. If you're not familiar with Fig, it is back on the website right now. This is Fig. It is a semi-gloss lip and cheek that was a part of the Angel collection. When we went to Atlanta for our conference, we always sponsor a local foster care agency. We raise funds for them. Their ladies got to be a part of so many of our events, but Fig with the Angel Illuminator combo was the collection. And now Fig is back on the website. And I thought with Spell and Fig, we could just create a nice, warm fall tone. So like I said, I'm gonna put a little bit of Chai just on the top of the bristles, and I'm gonna tap off the excess. And here is the key for all of my hooded eye ladies. If you have a hooded eye, that means the hood comes down and covers some portion of your eyelid, which typically makes it a little bit harder to like create an eye look because you can't see the entire lid. So what you wanna do is start by creating some dimension and carving out the eye by taking your brush, put your fingers down at the bottom. When you go here and you like stamp it on, it's harder to blend. So you wanna be really light-handed and you want to go up on to that actual base of the hood and tap it in this outer corner here, tap, tap. And now we can go back and forth and windshield wiper. And what we're doing is we're getting above the crease so that when our eyes are open, we can see that first shade. So we're almost creating that new crease above the old crease. So for those of us with the hooded eye, we can see that color. And that's gonna be step one. Tap, tap, remove the excess, look forward, and get it up above the crease. You wanna do this with your eyes open. If you go like, tilt your head back a little bit and get it up above that crease, when you look down, or look forward, I should say, you should still be able to see it. If we get just in the crease, we tend to lose the ability to see it when our eyes are open. So let's windshield wiper back and forth. Make sure we can see it on both eyes, and then I'm gonna take that same side of the brush, still using Chai, and I'm going to stamp it into the outer corner. And this is just how we start to create some depth. Now I'm using that small circular motion and making sure that it is blended. And this is a medium tone matte shade, as I said before. It's not meant to be the star of the show. It's really meant to just start carving out the eye, creating that dimension. So now we've created that new crease. We've added some dimension to the outer corner, and generally speaking, like on a one shadow eye day, what I did before I started my eye look is I prepped my eyes, I color corrected with my traditional Seint color corrector, I put a little bit of my main highlight shade, and now my eyelids are the same tone as the rest of my face. I've reduced the purple and blue, I've evened out the skin tone, and then I set it with my Vanilla Dust setting powder. Now when I go in with that medium tone matte shade, like I could be done. I've carved out my eye, I have a little bit of dimension, and because I already color corrected, my lids are very neutral. But for the purposes of today, of course, we're gonna keep going. So let me swatch chai for you. This is chai, and you will see it is very much just a neutral, medium tone matte with a little bit of a gray base to it. Again, not meant to be the star of the show, just to add a little bit of dimension. And now we're gonna go in to Foxy. Foxy is this beautiful gold tone. It is a shimmer, and this is what we're gonna put on the lid. I like to keep my lid a light to medium tone shade, and I prefer, even with a hooded eye, something that has a little bit of reflective quality to it, because what I wanna do is I want to pop out my eyelid and I want to push back my hood. So I'm adding a little bit of this Foxy with my finger, and I'm doing that so that I can control the shimmer. I don't want the shimmer to fall on my face, and I tend to get better color payoff than using a brush. If you put it on the bristles of the brush and you swipe it back and forth, you're gonna notice that you have fallout. Where if you use your finger, you can control where you put it, you can pack on that color, and you avoid getting it underneath the eye, and it sets more exactly where you want it. Going back to the eyeshadow brush, I'm still gonna use the fluffy end, and all I'm gonna do is go to where those edges come together and make sure that everything is blended. The key to any good eye look is just making sure that there's no harsh lines where any one color starts or stops. So sometimes I'll even go back into that medium tone matte shade, and I'm gonna add a little bit just to make sure I don't lose that new crease that I've created. So when you're building an eye look for a hooded eye, you can stop anywhere in the process. As long as you carve out your crease first, create some dimension to the eye. If you wanted to stop then, because you've color corrected, you're good to go. If you like adding that lighter and brighter or that medium bright reflective shade to the lid, now you have a very simple 2-color eye look, and you've carved out and you have beautiful dimension. For the purposes of today, it's time to add our third step in, and this is Spell. By adding this deeper or darker color to the outside corner, we're really gonna start to create that dimension and more of that sultry or smoky eye look. And I'm just gonna flip over my brush. I'm gonna use the small end, and I'm actually gonna use it like on the side. So I'm gonna pack a little bit of that onto the side of the brush. I'm gonna tap off any excess, and I'm gonna start by pressing into that outer corner. And I can add on until I like the depth. This will also help create more of that upturned like almond eye. Flipping over, and we're going to blend. Circular motions, and I like to do my circular motion inward. The reason being is that we want to keep our eye look from the corner of the eye to the tip of the eyebrow to help pull it up. If we start to circle down, then we start to drag our eye down. I do have a little trick for you that I'll show you at the end so that you can clean it up no matter what. But just for the sake of showing you the easiest way, let's go back into the side of the brush, tap on to that outer corner. And remember, this is the deepest, darkest shade, and for a hooded eye, it can be matte, it can be shimmer. You just want it to be deeper and darker than both your medium tone matte shade and your lid shade. Now, circular motion inward to blend. Again, we want to make sure that we have no harsh lines. We need to do a little more blending here. And then I like to take the bristles, put my brush on an angle, and again, just go up into that area where we have created a little bit of that new crease. And now we have a 3-shade eyeshadow look that you could wear this every day, but it also has that beautiful fall smoky effect. And that's what something like Spell does, is it gives you that deep, dark outer corner shade and allows you to really create that additional dimension to the eye. I did grab a clean eyeshadow brush. Of course I have 2, I actually have 3, because I don't want to get any of that Spell for this last step. In the last step, I'm gonna add a light and bright shade. It could be Unicorn, Drift, Rome, Sabrina, Cupcake, anything very light and bright. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to tap the small side. This is Rome. And I'm gonna add it to the tear duct right here, just for a little pop and underneath the brow. Anywhere you put that lighter shade is going to reflect. So my brows are gonna draw back a little bit, and I'm gonna add a little bit of color underneath the brow so that this pops out. A little bit on the tear duct. And I try and keep it to the tear duct because this is an area that I have a lot of texture. So I want to avoid adding texture in textured areas, but it just adds a nice pop there. And you want your colors to be lightest, closest to the center of the eye, and darkest to the outer corner to really create that almond or upturned look. So really, that's how simple it is to use 4 shades to create a beautiful eye look for a hooded eye. Now let me swatch these last 2 for you so you can see the full color comparison here. All right, what am I missing? I'm missing Spell. So let's add Spell to our look. And then Rome. So we have Chai, Foxy, Spell, and Rome. And that gives us that nice fall, warm, sultry look. I am gonna show you how to add a little bit of color under the eye instead of eyeliners, so you can create some additional dimension. And then we're gonna add mascara and we are done. For me, with a hooded eye, I usually don't put eyeliner on my top lid unless I have a lot of darkness to the eye. I try and keep my mascara deep and dark on the outside just to help with that upturned look. But one area that I avoid a dark, especially liquid black eyeliner is under the eye, because I don't want to draw attention to my under eye, but I do want to carve it out a little bit. So let's go back to the small end of our eyeshadow brush. I'm going back to our original color, which is Chai. And all I'm going to do is create a little bit of depth under my eye where I would have traditionally put an eyeliner, and I'm keeping it from this part, like where the color begins with my actual pupil, and I'm bringing it to the outer corner. And again, this is a very neutral color. It's very close to my skin tone, so you're not gonna see a lot of depth with it, but it also helps set your under eye. So with cream makeup, your makeup doesn't set. And since it's emollient, sometimes people have mascara transfer underneath the eye. Well, one way to avoid your mascara transferring is to do this technique, or to use your Vanilla Dust setting powder underneath your eye to set that cream and keep that mascara from transferring. So one benefit is we're creating some additional dimension to the eye, but the other is that it helps with the transfer of mascara. Now I'm gonna go back into Spell, tap a little bit on to the tip, and I'm gonna keep this to the outer third. So I brought Chai from that inner third out, and now I'm just gonna keep Spell on that outer third. And it's gonna help create that smoky, kind of sultry look, but in a very soft, kind of feminine way. So you see on this side, we have added our Spell underneath. On this side, we haven't yet. So really, it's just a small step, but it contributes quite a bit to that kind of sultry, smoky eye look without adding any harshness like a black liner sometimes does. Now let me show you the trick to clean this up and make sure that we have a sharper line. Like you'll see right here, I got a little bit downturned, and that will pull the eye down. So let me show you, using our traditional highlight and contour, how you can quickly clean that up. Going into my 3D foundation, I'm gonna grab the blend brush, and I'm just gonna grab my main highlight shade. I'm gonna put a little bit here on the tips of the brush. I'm gonna go from the outer corner up to my brow, and that just allows me to clean that up. And now we have a more sharpened outer corner where everything is upturned, and we get rid of any mess we have made or any darkness that might be dragging the eye down. Now everything pulls up, and it's really an easy way to clean up that outer corner. do have a little bit of mascara on, but I'm gonna add a little bit more, and I'm gonna really focus on the outer corner to really help with that dimension, and then we're gonna be done. So I've added mascara on this side, and I wanna show you before I add it on the other side. Because I don't do a lot of dark eyeliner on my lid, and the reason I don't do that is because if I go too thick, then I lose what limited lid space I have. So what I like to do is hug the lash line as much as I can. I really wiggle the bristles in there so I can create some darkness at the lash line in lieu of eyeliner, but then I focus, so you'll see the difference from here to here, is I focus the majority of my mascara application to the outer corner so that it helps aid in that upturned almond dimensioned eye look. So on this side, I did wiggle it in at the lash line, but I haven't added any to the outside corner. So let me show you when I add some additional mascara to the outside, how we can get more of this look over here. So I'm basically just focusing this second coat of mascara onto the outer third of my lashes, just so that they're a little bit deeper and darker than the inner 2/3. All the way down to the lash line and kind of wiggle just to make sure we're creating that depth. And then continue to pull through and just add to that outer third. And if you ever did what I just did, which is accidentally get some onto your actual lid, wait for it to dry, and then just grab a spoolie and you can flick it right off. So you don't have to redo any of your look, just make sure that it's dry, and easy peasy, you are good to go. The mascara that's been my ride or die for like a full year now is Quadra, and I will link this as well as anything else that I use below. But the reason that I love it is because it's a lash growth mascara. It's a tubing mascara with a primer, and it's all in one. So if you've ever had issues with your lashes regrowing, that has been an issue for me since I had kids, and I was using a lash serum. And what I found out with the lash serum that you actually place like on the skin, on the lash line, is that it was dyeing my lid purple. It goes directly on the lashes. I've seen fantastic regrowth, and it's like a skincare product. You wanna use it every day. The best results are gonna come when you apply it every day and you allow it to go through its process of regrowing your lashes. But the other really great thing, in addition to the fact that it's water resistant and not waterproof mascaras tend to pull my eyelashes out when I go to remove it at the end of the night. This comes off with warm water, but it's also a dual-ended wand. The great thing about that is I was always using two mascaras, one to separate my lashes and another for them to look fuller and longer. And this tool, it does it all in one. So if you're looking for a really great regrowth product that also, it's like a 4-in-1. It's a tubing mascara, it's a primer, it has lash regrowth, and it's water resistant. This is a gem. But like I said, I like to keep it to the outer corner. So for my first application, when I do my first mascara application, I make sure I get it in to the actual lash line, wiggle, and I come up evenly throughout all my lashes. Then for my second coat, I keep it to the outer third. Again, I do wiggle it down at the lash line to create that additional darkness, but then I focus here so that my eyes, just like my eyeshadow, have that same upturned look, and it really helps with a hooded eye to focus your lightest color in the middle and your darkest color on the outside so you can see the full effect of your look. That is it, you guys. This is Spell. Both of these right here. Spell will be available for the month of October. If you had the advent calendar, it was in there. So go check your advent calendar palette. And I would love to see all the beautiful, warm, fall-toned eyeshadow looks that you guys create. As always, I'm so thankful that you're here, and we'll see you next week.